Today I am reviewing a spaghetti western from 1967, directed by Guido Questi, and this is where you get to take the piss out of me in the comments if I pronounce anything wrong. This movie is Django Kill, billed as the most violent western of all time. Now the original title, and again this is where you get to take the piss because of my pronunciation, was Si Vivo Spara, which means if you live, shoot. But in the American and British markets it had the title of Django Kill. Now this DVD here is a rather handsome DVD because this has got scenes that were cut from the UK and American release. This movie even got mixed up in the scandal over video nasties when VHS was really popular in the late 70s and early 80s because of several scenes in here. Now this movie is regarded as a classic by many, and in the book Once Upon a Time in the Italian West by Howard Hughes, they've got Howard Hughes has his own opinion on this movie, which is not too dissimilar to my own, but he asked a number of luminaries towards the beginning of this book to list their top 10 favourite spaghetti westerns, and Professor Sir Christopher Frayling, who is the rector for the Royal College of Art London and a writer, historian and broadcaster who has written many books on spaghetti westerns, brought Django Kill in at number 5 in his list of the best of the top 10 Italian westerns in his opinion, which brought it in before Django, Corbucci's 1966 Django. Totally don't agree with that. And Alex Cox, of course, who is a very respected film critic, a broadcaster and a director of considerable quality, brings Django Kill in at number 3 in the best spaghetti westerns ever made, well in front of Django. Personally, I don't agree with that. Personally, in my opinion, I think that Django Kill is a crock of shit. I think or Si Vivo Spara, directed by Guido Questi, is not really a Django movie at all. Its original title, which as I've said, was If You Live, Shoot, and it was only at the 11th hour that the title was changed to Django Kill, and that was to capitalise on the success of Sergio Corbucci's Django, which came out a year earlier in 1966. That version, that film Django, is a classic, even if Corbucci's Django is basically a rewrite of A Fistful of Dollars, and of course A Fistful of Dollars in its own way was a rewrite of Yojimbo. But Django Kills is also a rewrite of A Fistful of Dollars and Yojimbo and Django, but in Questi's hands the story becomes incoherent and actually quite demented. It's very difficult to follow the storyline of this film because it's not a conventional storyline. Now, a lot of people consider this to be an art movie, a kind of pop art movie, and there's a lot of symbolism in the movie. A lot of religious symbolism, that, for instance, the character who we, the viewer, think of as Django, even though he's referred to throughout the movie as the stranger. Thomas Milan's character, in one scene he's semi-crucified, or rather the way he's put it, it's supposed to depict a crucifixion. And right at the beginning of the film, we see an hand coming out of a shallow grave. And it's not clear at this point if Django, or the stranger, Thomas Milan's character, has actually been resurrected from the death, or if he was merely wounded and he wasn't dead in the first place. That much is unclear.
You won't get away with this, Oaks!
And then we sort of get a flashback to find out how the Django or the stranger came to be in the shallow grave. And it's all to do with gold being robbed by a team of bandits. Half of the outlaws double cross the other half of the outlaws, and that is the Mexican outlaws, who are led by the stranger, Thomas Milan, Django if you like, who seems to be represented as some sort of half Mexican, half American character, and they are shot, executed by the outlaws and thrown into a shallow grave. But of course Django, or the stranger, seems to have somehow magically become resurrected. You can read it either way, because he's found by two Indian characters, and these Indian characters are total cliched stereotype Indians, as the type used in the worst of the 1940s and 1950 Western movies. And with the dubbing in this, the Indian characters talk like Little Plum from the Beano. It's all long way, cross river, horse, not like, and things like that. Now there are several really extremely violent scenes in here. There's one scene in which an outlaw has been shot by the stranger, by the Django character. He's not dead, he's still alive, but he's been shot several times, and they're operating on him. And as soon as they find out that the bullets inside him are made from pure gold, then they just tear him apart in order to tear a still living man apart in order to get the gold from him. There's also a really nasty, pointless scene which was cut from many versions of this movie. It was never seen until these days, where you can get a full uncut DVD, or at least as close to uncut as possible, because a lot of the footage doesn't exist. But this scene is when one of the Indian characters is scalped, and it's just nasty. There's no need of it at all. It's way over the top. It's just nasty. So Django Kill, like this movie, and it's not because of the extreme violence, because let's take, for instance, Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch. Now, in its depiction of gun violence, that is extremely violent, but it also tells a coherent, cohesive story, and I love that film. This I found to be meandering, overly pretentious. To be honest, I found it boring now. Maybe it is going to cross my head. Maybe I'm not on a level to understand this movie. But when I go to see a movie, I don't want, a symbolism at the expense of storytelling. I want a good, entertaining story. This film, to my opinion, is just totally and utterly demented. Watch it if you must, but this is not in any way, in my opinion, a worthy spaghetti western. And I love spaghetti westerns. There are several real good westerns out there. The film which influenced the name change on this, that is Sergio Capucci's Django from 1966. I will talk about that in a future video. That is excellent. Even though that's just a retread of A Fistful of Dollars, it just takes it a little further, a little darker, as the spaghetti westerns did. Anyway, so that's Django Kill. Up to you if you want to watch it, but I don't think I'll ever bother again.